Because we see your antichrist as our Mahdi. After all, you look at the world today, they say Islam is a peaceful religion. Islam means peace. President Bush said the same thing. In fact, President Bush said, we worship the same God. I was stunned. I don't worship the same God. If we worship the same God, then why did I have to leave Islam? Do we worship the same God? No. In fact, you Americans could have peace with Islam instantly. You know how you can have peace with Islam? I'll give you a peace proposal that'll work 100%. 4th of July, all the Americans go to the stadiums, the biggest stadiums in your cities. On 4th of July, all the Americans in unison will say, we want Osama bin Laden's peace proposal. What is Osama bin Laden's peace proposal and Ahmadinejad's peace proposal? And every single Muslim clergy, the peace proposal for the Americans is this: that if the Americans say there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger, you'll have peace. How many of you want to say there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger? Raise your hand. Why are you so anti-peace? You want wars for not wanting to utter a statement? I mean, how bigoted is this? You're all bigots. You're all bigots. And excuse me, do you think if I sat down the Richard Dawkins of the world and all these anti-Christian writers, Christopher Hitchens and all these Christian phobes in the same hall right here and offer them the same offer, do you think they will raise their hand? They won't. They will not raise their hand. They will not accept there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. Why? You know why? Because we're Americans. No one tells us what to do. That's it. We're stubborn Americans. Why are we stubborn Americans? I don't want anybody to tell us what to do. Because our grandfathers bled for this land, and they bled for the freedom to express what you want, including so now that we're both bigots, whether you're liberal, whether you're conservative, I began to accept this title as a badge of honor. I am a Christian, American, fundamentalist, Islamophobic, kafir, bigot, and a xenophobe. But so are you. It doesn't matter whether you're Christian or not. Because if you want peace with Islam, raise your hand, say there's no God but Allah, but Muhammad is his messenger. But why do we Christians have a problem with there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger? I found that out when I went to a church for the first time, began to speak, and fell in love with this song. The song talked about Jesus coming in the clouds. You know the song? There's no God like Jehovah. He's coming on the clouds. Anybody can sing it for me? Riding on the clouds. You don't know it? There's no God like Jehovah. There's no God like Jehovah. There's no God. You don't know that song. You guys need to learn that song. Behold, he comes riding on the clouds at the trumpet call, the year of Jubilee. You know the song. And then it says, there's no God like Jehovah, there's no God like Jehovah, there's no God like Jehovah, there's no God like Jehovah. I said, wow, I love this song, but for different reasons than you love it. Because it says there's no God like Jehovah. It doesn't say there's no other gods. There's claiming gods. But there's no God like him. And Jesus is coming on the clouds, riding on the clouds, coming down to earth. I remember getting on the pulpits and began to ask, because I see your songs different than the way you see them. I see the Bible a little different than the way you see it. I asked a question. I said, do you know when Jesus comes on the clouds, what is he coming to do? Anybody wants to tell me? Come on, raise your hands. You thought there's no quizzes in my class? You're wrong. Test the spirit. Test the sheep. I test everything, including you. What's Christ doing riding on a cloud? I know, judgment. You always give me such generalized answers. Judgment. What? You were in the first service cheating, no problem. It's in Isaiah chapter 19. Isaiah chapter 19, behold, the Lord rise on a swift cloud and will come into Egypt. Excuse me, why is that significant? Because I am not talking about a battle with a Muslim nation per se, something happens before Jesus comes. No, no, no. I am talking about a battle in which Jesus himself is participating in a war with Egypt, a specific country. In other words, Christ is coming down to earth to pick a fight with the Egyptians. Why? Because they were messing with Israel. So when Christ comes again, he's coming on the clouds to fight a Muslim country. Can you imagine me as a Muslim began to read this? And I go, wait a minute. Every time I talk to Christian Americans, I ask them about this Jesus stuff. They tell me that Jesus is a teddy bear. He loves you. He loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, they're always like peppy and groovy and kind of like, Kamal says, they're like foofy Christians. I said, but reading this, the guy is no teddy bear, the guy is a grizzly bear. And I don't want to run into that guy. You think it's only one incident. Did you know in the Bible, in every single context where Christ is on earth, he is fighting a Muslim country? But the problem, by the time I wanted to reach to the Western mindset and tell them, wait a minute, Jesus is not fighting an Italian. He's fighting Muslims. The door shuts and they don't want to hear it from you. Because they don't want to be confused with what the text says, because the books are already on the shelves. Because the Western mindset, when they interpret the Bible or prophecy, if I say we're going to have today a Bible prophecy lesson, the first thing that comes into the Western mindset is this. Oh, we are going to study the book of Revelation. Why do you Americans always like to start from the last book? It doesn't make any sense.